Whew. Alrighty. Hello, hello, hello. It is another time in this world. I don't know if it's the morning, the night, the evening, wherever you guys are at, but hope you guys are having a beautiful time. On today's little episode, myself and Andrew are going to be talking about body images. This is something that we went to start talk about a little bit. It was like probably like 3 or 4 something in the morning
At work.
at
For
work.
context.
For context. Yep. And I know this is something that I feel in both of our brains we've experienced a lot. Definitely on different sides of the spectrum, but I know this is something that I've wanted to talk about starting this podcast, but I didn't really know how to do so. But here we are.
Hell yeah.
So I guess we start with what the hell is body images?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, should I Google that? Like, what is body image? I think it's just like, at least my version of it, so we're on the same page, is like, just how do you perceive your own vessel? Because I think it's different if you're like putting it in context of like society,
Right.
because that changes with like time, and that changes with culture. And like what's deemed as like desirable or marketable, I would
Right.
say. And I want to actually make that clarification too. What's marketable is different from what's desirable, because I think we get it confused what's desirable because it's marketed to us as well. Because yeah, I think we could segue better into it, but even just like how does just like the beauty industry or like living in the age of the internet, how does like pornography influence your perception of yourself?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's something I think about a lot, of like, you know, it's like you're supposed to be like a big muscular man with like a really large schlong and like, but then you're supposed to be like a super dainty tiny woman, or you have to be extremely curvy, sexy, like, but tiny at the same time, like, just weird.
Right.
And like if we all had bodies like that, it would look, the world would just be weird. It would be like all dudes are like 6 foot, jacked, and then all girls would be like 4'11",
Right.
dainty, or like they would just have to fit into like 2-3 different categories. It's just weird. But that also still like influences as you grow up, like your perception of yourself, I feel like,
Right.
and then having to deconstruct that.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's just like one part of that. I feel like we can get more into, but body image, inevitably, I think it's just how do you look at your own vessel?
How to perceive thyself in the physical form.
Right.
Damn. Yeah, it was. Yeah, the stuff, definitely stuff to keep in mind. I guess I know if the way my brain starts to think about it would be just like, I guess just size, you know? I know when I was a wee small lad, I was, actually as a kid, I was really skinny. Pretty skinny, but, due to, life experiences, and those life experiences just being really traumatic stuff that has occurred in my life, I didn't really know how to cope. And then I found food. And food was like, man, I'm really yummy. And the dopamine in my body, in my vessel, was like, wow, alright, I'm breaking the deal with you.
Yeah, very Latin.
Yep.
Very Latin coping mechanism.
It was, for my case at least, it was a mix of that, and it was also then a mix of kind of being scared into just doing that. And the reason I'd say scared is because I remember as a kid, I didn't really know what it meant to like not really have money, or like, or in the sense of like I didn't really know how grave of a situation we were at the time. Because in the end of the day, you're a kid.
Right.
You don't fucking know
Right.
money.
Right.
You don't know like, oh my god, with like $1 I can buy the whole world, you know. So with that, I remember being scared of like you gotta eat your food no matter what, no
Oh
matter
my
if you're
god,
already
right.
full.
Yes. Oh my
No
god.
matter
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're
yeah.
already full, you still
get
gotta
that.
eat that shit.
Right.
So then I know subconsciously I just had that fear of like I just gotta eat everything. It doesn't matter how full or how like much in pain I am, I still have to eat.
Right. In combination with.
With the, yeah. With then like so
Right.
then it was the mental, and then later I can definitely get it for my own. Later I can talk about it more, but just also to prep it up for myself in context now. I have information of like I also just had physical. Would it be alien or
Ailments.
ailments? Yes, that caused me to also retain the amount of size that I had for so long. And the
right.
reason why I had so much pain. But at the time, I didn't know. I just ate because ate made me feel good, and also, I mean, I just couldn't. I couldn't. I couldn't not obey the
Right.
being that was controlling my life at the time. So then I got to a very big size, but I know that like I wasn't so hard on myself. Not because it's like I wanted to get better or something, but at the time it just didn't really matter.
Right. Right.
It was just I was truly like, you know how like people say like you just gotta live in the moment, just be the moment. It's like imagine that, but then like the negative part of it,
Right. The nihilistic version of that.
right?
Yeah.
And then you're also just surviving at that point, so then you just don't think about it. I think when my body issues truly started to become a thing was when I went to college and when I actually finally started to work out.
Right. Right.
Because then again, with a lot of stuff what you were saying before, I just photograph, phonograph. Poneglyph.
The poneglyph.
The poneglyph. But minus the phonograph. Oh my. Okay, you know what I mean. Minus the porn. Of how people perceive of the like. You gotta be like really strong and have these like chiseled abs and like all of this shit and like
Right.
it's like I think the deconstruction of doing that is extremely hard.
Right. Yeah.
And I know at least for myself also once I started working out, it was then I really love working out because of how it makes me feel, but then also just the dangers of then going so far into that. But but yeah, I was gonna say I feel like I've been yapping a bit.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say though, or maybe we have to edit it just in case we forget to edit. I guess it has to be like, by the way, guys, trigger warning and stuff, because like we're talking about like adult things, and then we're gonna get really like personal. Yeah, and I don't want to be like restrictive either.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's dumb. But no, like I like when you yap. We've kind of touched on this in other contexts. I feel like in other episodes we've done. But I think, yeah, I definitely think like the age. It's like we just live in a weird time. Like you've been saying a lot like the last week. We're very much like a transitional generation. But like living with the internet is so fucking weird. And and like just the way you perceive yourself, it's like in context of like all of existence, and like a human being's not really supposed to view it in this curated, marketed, artificial way that is like the internet. Because, so I guess from my end of it, for me it wasn't about size per se, but it was about lack of size. Where as a kid I was very skinny, and I'm still like pretty thin, but it was very much, you know, in my family it's like, oh yeah, like, or like for example, like my grandparents, literally the first thing my grandmother would say, she'd give me a hug and then she'd go, "You're still so skinny." Like it'd be like, I see you once a year at most,
and then you hit
like
me
once
with
every
that shit.
right, consistently. The first thing of, oh hey, oh you're still so skinny. I'm like, oh there's something wrong with me. Ooh. Oh flaco, ¿qué pasó? Da, da, da. Like my describing word is, oh you're like the skinny one in the family, or having someone who's like only like 2 years older than me. He'd be like, oh, joking, like, oh, hey, buddy, hugs me and like picks me up, because he's like 5-6 inches taller than me and is like 100 pounds on me, and it's like, haha, yes, I'm skinny, but like I'm kind of like 17, 18 years old. Like, why are you picking me up?
Right.
Like, what is this proving?
Right.
So for me, it's the opposite of, I'm not big enough.
Ooh.
And that my strength and my like masculinity is questioned because of my lack of. Yeah, which is which is like what I even like within the last like month or so. There's another guy, like he's thin too, but he said something of like, I don't even remember the context, but he's just like, oh, you know, that's like, you know, he's like, oh yeah, like us thin guys understand, or something like that. And I was just like, I winced. I was like, okay, right. Like, you don't understand though, like, because his job is like, we still work at, he's from, it was at Whole Foods, but he does, I won't say his name because in case you ever meet him, but he does like store support. So he does like more of the customer service stuff. So for me, and I know you know now because we're working together, where it's like, homie, I might be thin, but like I'm throwing around pallets, homie. Like I'm lifting up shit all day.
I'm strong.
Like I'm strong. I'm especially strong, and I know proportionally for my size, I am powerful. But
it's just
the perception of me, the body image that others put onto me, says that I'm weak.
Now speaking of that, then good thing that you did the trigger warning, because I completely get that. I know, I guess on my side of that, this is one thing that is interesting, but I remember always by either my family and stuff like that always being called and like in English it's like a translation, like rough translation of just either like chubby or fatty or like something like that, but in Spanish is gordito, gordo. But the thing that's interesting is that that name got really muddled with me once I was in the States. Right. Because the thing is, gordo, gordito really does mean a way of just a term of endearment. You know? But then, again, being here and then going back, it just killed the fuck out of that shit. Because they would like call me and stuff like that. And then I remember now in retrospect, I've had then those same family members being like, yeah, when you were a kid, like you just fucking hated that word like out of nowhere. Which I'm like, damn. Yeah.
Right. Right, but it kind of, just to say though, it goes back to the culture. Yeah. It's different.
Different ass culture. Mean ass culture over here,
but right.
But then I'm not excusing that of everything. Because a certain parental figure would also then tell me that like, yeah, you could go like 3-4 months without eating any food and like you'll still be the same size, you know? You'll always be there. You'll always just be a sack of potatoes. And like imagine just hearing that shit like as a kid.
That's wild.
And like on top of then like being called either like a freak or a monster by others. are just always, even if not those direct words, always just the indirect of just the eyes. Just see, like, have, like, if you've ever just had people just immediately, like, scan you just up and down and either just give you a sense of disgust or just, like, of caution. Imagine somebody hitting you with caution just because you're big. And then that shit just hurts. Because at the end of the day, like, because I know this is just, like, the way I perceive my body is just so. If I were an artist and I were to visually, like, draw myself, it would be a form of, at this point, a form of blob and just bones. Because genuinely, like, and it sucks, because I really am trying again to deconstruct, like, my perception of my vessel, and, like, allowing myself that, even though, unfortunately, I'm in a lifetime where I can't, like, actually change my vessel to, like, where I want it to be, or I don't have the ability to, like, shapeshift. I'm forced to then be, like, locked in this vessel, so I have to improve on, like, the best that I can be with the things that I have. But then from there, then it is just so difficult to then have, at this point, it's just these, like, an echo chamber of my, like, own thoughts of just past stuff. Of just being like, it doesn't matter how much you run, it doesn't matter how much you do of something, it doesn't matter if you don't eat anymore, you will still be the same person that you are. And because of how you are and how you then get or just how I perceive myself, then I know, then it just goes into, of course, just mental stuff of, like, do I deserve to then, like, say, experience love? Do I deserve to, like, have all of these good things occur to me just because I've just been so negatively attacked throughout my entire life because how I perceive? I am just but a giant, even just a friendly giant I've been called by others. But am I just always supposed to be that, like, supporting cast? Am I always supposed to be that person that's like, yeah, I'm always here for you, I'm always here for the comedy relief, right? No. I know I shouldn't feel like that. Because I'm just me. And, like, and I know because of that also, like, my relationship with food, honestly, at this point, did we even have a talk about that? I feel like we did, but not audio.
Yeah, we talked about the idea of talking about an episode about, like, food. Oh, no, we did that on the Instagram.
Oh, on Instagram.
We did that on the Instagram for a hot second. We had, like, a video call.
Right.
Yeah, that was fun. We talked about food.
But yeah, my relationship with food, like, especially, is just so bad. Cause I genuinely get so scared when, like, I eat food, and then, like, the moment I eat food, in the moment I just feel either a block sensation, or just the moment I feel, maybe I might feel full. And maybe my body at that point, like, physically is like, I'm satisfied. But mentally, I'm just kind of like, damn, I guess I'm back to just being 300 pounds. I guess I'm back to just, like, literally I lost all of this progress. Which, like, in context real quick, February of 2022 was the highest I've ever waved, ever been in my entire life. And it was basically 300. Technically, I was 295. I was, I think I'm 6'1". 6', like, at the very least, I'm, like, 6 foot. But 6 foot and then almost 300 pounds, which is fucking bonkers to think about. But then then that's when I finally started to work out, which is why I give the context for the weight. And then that summer, around June, I was then 254. And then that October, I was like 220 something. And then around that December was then the lowest I have ever weighed. And I was 205. Same year.
Right.
I dropped almost 100 fucking pounds.
Right.
Just working out. and and it felt good being able to do that. But then I then went to, and now I think I'm in the other side of the spectrum with like, I don't want to like give myself names of disorders, but like I'm now definitely afraid to like just eat any type of food. And um I know this isn't good to do, but whenever I start to have a really bad episode about my body, um I will then go to the mirror, and then I will put up my shirt up, and then I'll just suck in, because I know that like it's just loose skin at this point, but it's just when I see the bones, when I just see like that, I just like it finally just calms down, because then my eyes finally like see like, no, this is real. You're not there anymore. It is okay. And then afterwards, then in like a weird comparison, it would be to when like you would drink and it's like, wow, I'm drunk, this feels good, and then after you get that hangover, you're like, fuck, why did I do this? It's that same wave. So again, from my side of the spectrum, it's I get so definitely like, I need to just be small. I need to like, I can't, I don't like being big. I don't want people to just be scared of me just because of this. I swear I'm not a freak.
Damn. That's it, it's just interesting because, and we've talked about this before, how we're on those, like on those two ends of that spectrum.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like, sure, I'd love to be like more muscular and stuff. I've come to terms kind of with like my, for lack of like, I guess just like my metabolism. And I kind of enjoy it to some degree because I just like eat shit all day. But like, for me, when I have those moments of like, and I'm very like, damn, you're scrawny. Like, I've been the same weight. Yeah, I'm going to be 25 next month. I've been the same weight for almost 10 years.
Wow.
Like, I've been the same exact size since I was like 16. And like, that's also to me why I feel weird, because I'm like, I've had the same body. Because I also know eventually it's going to change. Like, my metabolism just kind of has to change at some point. And I feel like that's actually going to be like really weird for me. Because my whole, up to this point, my whole like adult life, it's been this like stasis with my body. And like, maybe my like stamina and shit might have changed over time when I was like active, not active. Or like just my physicality's changed. But like, for me, it's my dissatisfaction with my body ends up manifesting in like, well, I got a bunch of tattoos. You know, like, I was very much like, well, if I can't get a bunch of muscle, if I want to look sexy and mature, I should just ink up. And that worked. The problem is that worked. Society like will reward that behavior of like, and don't get me wrong, like I'm very big on tattoos. It's super cool, but at the end of the day, like that is almost in a way like it's an artistic form of mutilation.
I mean, yeah.
You know? I know you're like, yeah, but other people might be like, I don't agree with that. But like, you know, I think people who have a lot of tattoos kind of would be like, yeah, because it, you know, it's pain. There is pain involved, and like I enjoy that way of like desecrating myself. But like, also, my dissatisfaction with my body also then manifests in like my hypersexual tendencies, and like I very much sexualize myself to self-soothe and like validate, where I have to feel like I'm desirable. I have to feel like machismo. I have to feel like I'm wanted, that this vessel is desirable. Like, I'm not just skinny. I'm not just weak. I'm not a baby. I'm not a child. You know, like I'm an adult. which like I've had also for a long time in my life.
Right.
Like way younger than like I should have. I've had that. Like
of the feeling like you were
just hyper sexualizing myself to feel a sense of validation and like acceptability.
Ooh,
yeah.
Oh, that is again, I think very similar feelings, but on the other side.
Right,
of the
it's the other right.
Because it's like I know for myself, it's yeah, we already did the content warning, but.
Yeah.
I've unfortunately experienced really that feeling of the being sexualized, but by others. At a point in the age of my life that should not have been it.
Right. Yeah.
Like really should not have been
right.
it. So I think subconsciously, I'm looking in retrospect. I think another reason I overate was then also to just like mask that disgust that I just had for myself.
Masking the disgust, right? Yeah.
Especially also like, cause I'm being upfront. Everybody, has engaged and stuff like that. Genuinely for myself, like, I am trying to deconstruct that because in the end of the day, that is also just another part of just the human experience.
Oh wait, just to clarify, sorry. The part of the human experience is the masking of the disgust.
Oh no, my bad. It's the masking of the disgust, but then I'm saying that this part, of course, consensually, when people just like do it and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
shaboing and all that.
If content warning, we're gonna talk about shaboinging and the poneglyphs.
And the poneglyphs.
But I understand.
It's just brought up to a point where like I get such disgust with myself because it's like I mask the disgust by the overeating and then by having then my body turn into just an undesirable thing. And then from that undesirable thing, then people don't want me. People don't want whatever I apparently was good with or whatever it is.
Right.
But then I realized, unfortunately, that it wasn't even the body that people were looking for. Actually, even though some people really are fucking freaks and might have a stomach fetish.
Yo.
But anyways, then it was the personality that people fetishized over, which then at that point I'm like, I can't really control that because that's just me.
Right.
So,
right.
But now it's trying to deconstruct that and being like, I understand, you caught me, you guys. I may have some self-esteem issues. That is something that I have been having really, really trouble with for like a really long time. And like, I know I shouldn't feel bad because I understand I have these traumas, but I feel so bad when people either compliment me or just be really kind to myself, because my brain just like literally like picks that up and goes like, what the fuck, what is this? You're either lying to me or like this just doesn't make sense. And I'm trying, and one of the things I try to combat that is like, no, like these people are strangers. Why the hell would they, what do they get out of just complimenting you?
Right.
Nothing. They want to do that because they just simply want to, and that's fine. It's then trying to figure out within yourself, why do you not let that in? Right. Are you scared of either being rejected with yourself or rejected that like it was just all a farce?
Right.
And that you're going to just go back to that state? Are you scared to even allow yourself to be in that state again? Because then it will just reinforce and reconfirm so many things.
Right.
I know. And then going into the bodies, because everything is just intertwined and locked, is that then it just goes and unlocks, or not unlocks, but just taps into so many other stuff of like, will I even let myself like feel that love again in scared of being like either played at again. I know that's just one of the things I'm so scared to to have people like truly see me for me. And it's I know this is one of the stuff I know I've like talked about it before, but with how I view my vessel and just how just like I identify, I'm so scared of like even when like I like someone, even when like say I'm either in a talking phase with people or just anything, in the back of my mind, like I always just get a doomsday type of mind, or I always feel like this isn't gonna last. Yeah, that this isn't gonna last, because in the end of the day, the moment they see me, the moment they know truly who I am, then it's just done. And then I'll just go back to just being that supporting character again. And I know that's just one of the things that I, at this point, I know I really struggle with. And, also, because I said I will bring this back, so here I am. I know one of the things is I do have physical things that did cause me to, like, stay the same weight that I was, or gain even more. And one of them would be in Spanish it's basically like it's a megacolon or some shit like that, but it's essentially my intestines are more like enlarged. So then that just meant I was able to just eat and eat and eat, but it never just registered to my brain that I was full until you were just physically at like full capacity. So all my life it was, I remember always eating, but I just never felt satisfied. I never felt full. And then that would be, then I would constantly either spew, or I would constantly just like I would just get constipated because it would just be so much. And then it was like a mix of that, and then a mix of I at this point realize I have some gallbladder issues. And for the people who don't know the gallbladder, that is the thing that breaks down your fat, the fatty foods that you eat. So then at a certain point, this was more towards like my college era, but I no matter what I ate, the moment I had a certain amount of food in my stomach, I just had pain. So then with that, then of course deteriorated my relationship with food. And yeah, so essentially I just had a bunch of things that make sense why my body reacted the way it did with food. So in the end of the day, also in a weird way, it wasn't all me. And I wasn't crazy, you know? Because that's the biggest thing also. Because this is me personally. I understand there are good people out there that promote the fitness, like, and all of that shit. But there are also a lot of shitty people that, like, just promote and be like, all you gotta do is just, like, you gotta, like, eat this, like air diet, and, like, you gotta, like...
Eat this air diet, right.
And you gotta, like, work out, like, 8
just
days out of the week.
It's just the grind set, man.
Yeah, it's just the grind set. And it's like, dog, like, I understand the grind, but what is the point of grinding when you don't know what it is? Don't just copy.
Right.
Research. Figure out what that set is for you.
You have to know your body. Right.
Right. Because everybody everybody's body is
It's
different.
That ass, right?
Different. So genuinely, I know from my thing is you gotta research, because that will help your brain.
Right.
Because if not, the brain can be your best friend or a fucking devil to you.
Right.
Your own demon. And it just helps being able, like with math and everything. It literally, once you figure out what the equation is, you can just solve it.
Right.
It might still be a long process, like the quadratic formula. Once you figure that shit out, sure, it may still be a long process, but you're finally having that gradual progress. You're not just stuck, or you're not just doing the wrong equations and then keep on getting the wrong answer, causing yourself to go insane.
Right.
Shit, yeah. My bad, my brain just...
Then you're like, math, no. Math, no.
No, I was just gonna say with that, you know when like you're yapping and then like your brain just registers like, damn, you're yapping, and then I was like, oh shit.
Can I be so honest with you?
Yeah.
Don't have that. I just endlessly.
See, that's another thing. Society wants.
Society wants you to adhere to the body image that they've prescribed, but it's not true. Right, but then it's all of that to go back to the society, but it's all of that in combination then with literally you're sold like sex all day. And like every celebrity's like good looking, perfect skin, ageless, all this bullshit. It's like just not. It's an illusion. Like it's just not true.
Yeah.
But then you're like, literally from, like as a child, taught that is the desire, that is the want, that is the goal.
Yeah.
You know, and then all this personal experience, all this personal recovery. I don't even want to say trauma, but like all this recovery. You know, like
actually, yeah.
You know,
that's a good way.
Personal
like recovery.
All this personal recovery you have to go through, like, doesn't make it easier.
Right.
It does not make it easier.
Right.
And. But what I do admire to kind of have like a little bit more of like a positive spin on body image is that human beings, like, at least for us, like like you go to New York City and you look, even for 10 minutes, you're like sitting on a park bench and you're just watching everyone. Every single person is genuinely so fucking different. Their bodies are different. Their skin color, skin tone, blemishes, their hair type, length, their height, their weight, their proportions, their
different
limbs, lack of limbs, like all this it's so interesting. And the one thing I do love too about like human beings, one amongst other things, we're all so different. And that is our greatest strength. Right. Is that our bodies are so different. Like, even with work, like, even at work, because we have to talk about Whole Foods, but even at work, like, you can do a certain section and you don't need the ladder. Like, the condiment wall, you can do the condiment wall and you don't need a ladder.
Oh, yeah.
I can't really do that. You know what I mean? Or, like, David, he cannot do that. Man. John could not do that because you're tall. Because your arms are longer.
Right.
Yeah. You know? Like, even that, just height. Like, your height is practical. It's useful for like, as a team, as a collective. The thing that makes your body different helps all of us.
Damn.
Like, that's just, like, one, very small example. Will that come up in the audio? Sorry, the radiator demon is radiating.
Acting up.
But yeah, so you're taught to, like, you have to look like a certain body type, and, like, you just don't. And, like, you weren't really, to some point, at least this far into, like, human history, like, we're not really supposed to all be that different. But also, again, it's like the culture thing. Because I'm sure, like, if I went to certain places in South America, they'd be like, whoa. Because I'm, like, slim. I'm tall. Like, you know, like, I'm one of the tallest people, like, in my genetic family.
Man.
Which to me is weird because I'm, like, 5'9", which is, like, not that tall. But, like, I'm tall. But I look, like, tall and handsome or some shit. You know, but, like... Or I forgot what country it is in Africa where their culture is for women, it's desirable for them to be bigger. And they say it's because the larger you are, the more room you will take up in your husband's heart.
Oh, wait, I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
cute.
I can't think of I don't remember where that is. But even just that. So, their goal, for women, their goal is to be larger.
Man.
While here, the goal is, like, I want to look. Honestly, for black... Because we've talked about this, too, I think. But, like, to be, like, abrasive, the societal goal in this country is, like, I want to look as juvenile as possible. I want to be as childlike as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. Like, or even that, we haven't even talked about hair.
God, yeah.
You know what I mean? We're talking about weight. We're not even talking about hair.
Yeah, hair.
That's a
can
whole
be
right. That's a whole
thing.
episode if we wanted to. But even that, you know, for some people the goal is I want to be hairless.
Yeah.
You know, you get like a wax or you get like laser shit.
You just constantly just gone.
Right, right.
And then there's others that's just full on natural. Just let it
right,
out.
just so right. But just that spectrum in and of itself is just inevitably. Whether it's for your body or for, like, the greater sense of self, like, the deeper sense of self, the major takeaway should always be you cannot allow for external forces, for other people, to determine whether or not, first of all, you're acceptable.
Right.
Whether or not you're worthy. But also, you can't let external forces dictate your sense of self.
Right. Right.
Because only you have the POV of yourself looking in the mirror. Which is, like, grueling. But you're the only person that has a true point of view within yourself of yourself. So, someone else's opinion, it's already a different angle. Literally. Physically, it's already a different angle.
Right.
So, yeah. Like, that's very much like, easier said than done. Because I have my moments, but then sometimes I'm like, I mean, at least I have these moments. I'm sure other people do, but sometimes I'm like, damn, I'm kind of a snack right now. Like, I'm looking a little, I'm looking juicy. Like, I'm looking good. The sunlight. Like, I'm feeling good at the beach. Like, I'm feeling good. Like, whatever. You know, I'm feeling confident.
Man.
But enjoying those moments when you have that and not letting yourself get stuck when you don't have that.
That's valid. I know for myself, I think the times I do feel that would be when I guess I'm not looking in, like, the mirror. And I know this is something that, like, definitely, like, we can, like, talk about in, like, other stuff if anybody wants to get on the historical side and all of that jazz. But, like, I feel like us humans, like, we did not need mirrors.
Dude,
I know genuinely, like,
that's a conspiracy podcast episode.
Yeah, conspiracy podcast.
No, there's a whole book in the Bible on that, homie.
Dead ass. But, like, even whether the Bible it's just been seen through so many different types of literature that, like, we as humans were not meant to truly, like, perceive ourselves. Maybe through, like, rivers or something like that, but that is by nature, you know, so it is just different. But I know for myself, I would feel confident. For me personally, when I don't feel pain, when I am at a point of just truly existed, not the bad kind of existed, when you're just content, when I don't have that pain from anywhere in my stomach, when I don't have either knee or joints or back problems, when I'm just existing and I feel content, that's when I like just truly appreciate those moments.
Right.
Because I know, especially like it would be like I would look in the mirror and then it would be those few times when I'm either wearing like a shirt, like just a shirt that I like, or pants, or just like an outfit that I enjoy, and then it makes it just feel tolerable, where then because of it I don't look at like either the curves of myself. I just am able to see this, like there's no leakage. And like, but I understand now that those leakages aren't even from a sense of overweight, but it's just like just skin, and it's just like a part of me. And I know that's just something that like I know you talked about, like I fucking can't remember the quote, or just a quote that you said last night, but really like stuck with me, where it was like you said somewhere along the lines.
I know when we were in the break room, when we talked about this episode, was it's not about getting your, well, okay, just for context too, we're talking about like working out, but like it's not about getting your body to be what you want it to be. It's about getting your body to be the best that it can be naturally. What steps can you take? And I think this goes for like mental, emotional, spiritual health as well.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Just what is your optimal? Not, oh well, I wanna weigh this much. I want my BMI to be this much. I wanna sleep this much, eat this many calories, do that. What is best for you? And that goes into what you said though, the research, because you have to research your own mental. You know, your spiritual, your emotional. Like you got to understand what's going on, and not try to force yourself to act a certain way, but try to actually just be your best. That's corny, but be your best self, but in an organic way. That's not.
It's not detrimental to your.
Not detrimental to your true self.
Yeah. Because I know in the end of the day, for me, like, and I know I've always said this, even just me saying this, I say it a lot. But no matter what happens, it's like, I want to do what I love and be with the people that I love. But then I realize that second part of be with the people that I love, I am one of those people that I have to be with.
Right.
And I have to love myself.
Yep.
How we do that, of course, it's a different conversation.
It's a totally different episode. No, but right. But yeah, the body is just. There's this line in a song, and it's like Coast Contra. I don't remember this song. I don't remember the name of the song, but they're very good rap group, by the way. But they can get very like wee woo kind of philosophical. But there's one line of like, I'm probably butchering it, so I hope they don't listen to this and they'll be like, "Grr." But it's something along the lines of like, the body is a disguise. You look into their eyes, you see there the spiritual lies.
Ooh.
Something like that. But that, like, the body is a disguise. Like, the body is a vessel. The body is just the representative of a greater being here. And that's why it's a shame if you allow for too much of the outside to determine really your shell. You know? Like, everything, the real substance is inside. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Like, the color of the M&M doesn't really matter, does it? What really matters is, like, does it got peanuts in there? Chocolate? Pretzels. You know what I mean? Like, the shell is just a shell. What's inside is what matters. And like, it's just hard when we get so caught up in the shell of everything that is like capitalism and the society.
Right.
Because also, like, just last thing too with the mirror of, you know, you're like, oh, humans aren't supposed to have the mirrors, right? Like, or like, oh, it's so weird. You don't realize, but like, your phone is a mirror.
Right.
Even if there's light on it, you're looking at yourself. Even like you're watching TV, you're looking at a computer screen, whatever it is, like you're still, even if you can't see it, you are staring at yourself constantly.
Right.
So like, it makes sense for us all to be a little crazy. Like, we're in a house full of mirrors, constantly.
Oh, also, lastly, also just to say, like, it's not all bad if like painting like your shell, if that makes sense. Like, if you really are in tune
get
with
tattoos.
yourself, like,
Get tattoos.
like
Get piercings and shit. Like, that's super cool.
I was gonna say it's either like, and also if you don't want to mutilate yourself artistically, you could also just like wear dresses or just whatever it is that just like makes you just feel good, you know?
Right.
And allowing yourself to just try, you know, without being so scared.
Right.
But
I like that. Allow yourself to try without being so scared.
yeah.
Right. Well, that's even that. Yeah, that's yeah. Just yeah. Like you can take power over your body image.
Right.
Your image of the self. But I don't know. I just think it's more so just it's what's inside. It's just what's inside. And like we're just all really conditioned and taught that, like, you know, oh, don't judge a book by its cover, but then we all still do that anyway. We instinctually do that anyway.
Right.
And like we don't really even sit here and like collectively like sit there and really try to fight against that. You know, it's like, oh, I want to fit in, I want to blend in, because we're taught to do that. We're sold that.
Yeah.
Like literally told, like, I don't know. And also just anyone that is listening, maybe this goes without being said, but we kind of say this in all of our episodes anyway. But like, you're valid. Like, no matter what you're feeling too, on like honestly, if you hate yourself, been there. But also, in case someone hasn't told you, like, you don't have to do that to yourself.
Right.
You just don't, because even though I can't prescribe value to you, I do want to let you know that you do have value.
Yeah.
By the simple fact of your existence. Just as like every bird and every tree, every mountain, every rock, every valley, every grain of sand on every beach, everywhere in the world, every asteroid in space, it all matters because it's here and it's existing. And just don't let the negativity enjoyers win. That ass. Just don't. Really don't. Like, you're loved.
You're meant to be here.
Right.
Literally, the fact that if you're still hearing this, you have the hearing capability.
Right.
You have the soul to just do anything.
Yo, and Soul said that, so it must be true.
So yeah, that's just something to always keep in mind. Is your feelings are valid, and to also just remember it's a balance, literally with anything.
Yeah, no, it definitely,
The balance, to not let thyself destroy oneself.
Right. Yeah. We definitely should talk about hair, though. That's another interesting one.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because we're also opposite. Yeah, anyone that doesn't know who we are that well doesn't realize, like, when was the last time you cut your hair?
I think like almost 5 years ago.
Right, and at least twice a year I shave my head.
Yo.
Polar opposites. Like, we'll really be out. We'll be outside. Homie's got the biggest hair in the fucking neighborhood, and I have zero hair on my head. So interesting. Like, so opposite sometimes. But it works.
Oh, yeah.
It works.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're just two beings on the spectrum.
Yep. Two spirits that just got intertwined again.
Again, yo, for real. Yeah, this is not the first lifetime. I wonder what our old vessels were like.
Mm-hmm. Right? Whether if you were birds or
Whether birds. Oh, that's cool. No, we were definitely puffins. I don't know why. I'm just vibing with puffins. I used to vibe with puffins as a kid. Sorry, everybody.
Wait,
you didn't get that.
Actually?
Yeah, I thought I told you this in the library when I was in kindergarten. So every week we'd have to go to the library, and they were always like, you have to take a book. Like, you can't not take a book. If you didn't take a book, you were like a stupid kid. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you don't read.
Okay.
So I would just keep getting the same book because I wouldn't lose it. So it's just like, I'll keep the book. And for like a good portion of the year was just this book about puffins. And of course, I mean, you know this, and we can talk about this some other time. I was not a good when I was little. I was not a good reader. I couldn't read for shit. No one would read with me at home. So like, I'd look at this book about puffins all the time, and I would just look at the pictures, and I always thought it was like, and I would just interpret what was going on.
Right.
But the idea that like they pair up and they live in these little holes on the sides of cliffs together. And they have little families and babies, and they got friends. They're chilling, and like they got a whole neighborhood and shit. Like, I'd be a puffin.
I'd be an Atlantic puffin.
Yeah, like penguins that fly. Come on.
And swim.
And swim. Come on. But I'm okay with this vessel though. I don't mind being me. At least like 85% of the time. Because I've learned to. It is what it is. Like, I got 2 legs, 2 arms, 2 hands. I got 2 eyes. Even though I need glasses, but, like, you know, I'm, like, capable and able. Even if I wasn't capable and able, I would still have some capability and agency.
Right.
And I would hope that my spirit would understand it's about being its best.
I think, lastly, that is something that I think my spirit... Because I think another side of the spectrum between you and I is that I feel like you're very, very grounded in like the physical self.
Yeah, that's a good episode. Oh,
that would be another good episode. But I know for me, I'm very in tune with my spirit. But then in that, my spirit and my body are always at a fight, at a battle, because it just. The thing that is like I don't know if for people that know me, I may not seem like it, but I can be very stubborn. And one of the things that I'm very stubborn, always the stubbornness is with myself though.
Right.
There's a difference with that.
Right.
But for myself would be the body, and my spirit is just so adamantly like, why? You've been in so many other places before. Why is it now? But then understanding that, like, again, you have to accept this may not be the vessel that you like this time, but know that you're one of many. So you're trying just to do with what you can.
Right.
And to just make it the best that you can.
Right.
In this lifetime of mine.
Yeah, I'm the opposite because I'm very body cerebral. Like when I think of like my soul or like myself, sure I think of like my body, genuinely, homie, the first thing I think is my head. The first thing I think is my brain. But I feel like my soul is always like just 10 feet out of reach for me sometimes. Yeah, I feel very detached from my spiritual, but very just aware and like in my body.
I'm keeping that last line you said in mind for another podcast.
Yeah.
Genuinely, yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, man, my body and soul, they be fighting all the time. Bro, my soul's not even in the convo.
Damn.
He'd be like your Discord where it's like idle or like do not disturb. Like, homie is just not replying in the group chat sometimes. Yeah. You have to, like, send him a letter. And then you hope he replies.
Hope he replies.
Yeah. Which is
Right.
another aspect of my body image. Where sometimes I feel like I'm a robot. Well, that's deep. I didn't say that before. But yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm a robot. Where I'm like, beep, boop, go work, do this. Impulse. Yeah.
I think lastly, it's with that, the way my brain interprets it is like it feels like whenever I dissociate, I've been thinking about it a lot more, but I feel like that's just like then my spirit genuinely looking at my body at like a third person point of view, figuring out like what the hell is this body doing? Where am I? What am I doing? And then having like I feel like then the body turns into like a vacuum trying to get this last little speck of dirt from like the ground to like suck it back in. And then that's where the sucking it back in then goes the freaking out part of the
right.
I guess the episode.
Yes, okay, that's such a okay.
And then that's where then I finally get back. I'm like, oh, okay. So
right.
with that, I do understand that. But I wanted to say, any last thoughts?
Yeah, you're valid. And like just don't let other people sell you false ideas of who you are. Or at the very least, don't pay for a subscription to that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Like, I love you guys. Just don't be so hard on yourself because other people taught you to be that way.
Absolutely. We love each and every one of you. And then no matter what, I hope that you guys are taking care of and staying safe. But yeah, until then, that was Andre Soul. And that was a podcast for this episode. See you guys later.
See ya.
Bye-bye.